Hello everyone, so I recently picked up a few of these smart sockets in the Black Friday sales before Christmas, and I wasn't really buying them for any specific purpose, but once they arrived I saw that they worked with Amazon Alexa, and then I thought, I've got an Alexa in the brew shed. So yeah, basically I thought I'd try and use them to control some of the brewing equipment that I'm using in the shed. I don't have a control panel or any of that fancy stuff, and I don't have the correct sort of, power connections out in the shed to build one of those anyway. So I thought that this might be a kind of alternative to that and allow me to, control things either by voice or using the app on the phone, and hopefully make the brewing process a little bit easier. It's a bit gimmicky, I know, but I thought, why not give it a go and see if it works. So I'm going to show you what I've done and how I'm using it during the brewing process at the moment. So I picked up 4 of the sockets, and I've got one there for the main kettle, which the Buffalo induction hob will go into. These sockets are rated to 13 amps, so it is safe to use this sort of equipment through them. I will still be keeping an eye on them to check that they're not getting too hot and so on. And then just at the back there you can see the other 3, which I've got set up to control the HLT, the pump, and I've got one for the little fan up there as well for ventilation. So that's how I've rigged it up. I've put the little labels on there so I know which one's which, and within the Alexa app itself you can actually allot those names to the sockets as well, so I can basically tell it to switch on those different things by name, which is kind of cool. I've got the Alexa with the touchscreen over here, and oh, she's listening to me. I can use that obviously either to do voice control, but I can also bring up the smart devices through this menu here. So you can see there we've got the 4 sockets on here, the HLT, the pump, the fan, and the kettle. So I've kind of got a touch screen controller now, and I can also keep an eye on how hot the wife's got the thermostat in the house and make sure she's not burning too much electricity or gas even through that. So yeah, but the voice control is the bit you probably want to see, so let's give it a go. So Alexa, switch on HLT.
Okay.
And there we go. And if we just pop over to here, you can hear it going already. This has been switched on for a little while. My elements are not that quick, but you can obviously hear there's power going to it now. Look around the side, you can see the indicator for that socket is on as well. So that's obviously working. Now, using it inside the shed, the voice controlling is useful, but I can also run it off of the app on my phone, so I can switch the sockets on and off when I'm in the house, or I can use the Alexa inside the kitchen to tell it to switch things on and off. So the main thing that will be useful for is if I'm up early to do a brew, for example, I want to switch the HLT on before I'm actually out to the shed so the water's nice and warm for when I come out. I can do that now, basically from wherever I am with my phone, which is going to be useful. Okay, so I've got the water temperature up to where I want it now, so I'm ready to transfer it across. Alexa, HLT off.
Okay.
So you can hear that that has knocked the element out, and you can transfer into the mash tun. So one of the other advantages of having the Alexa in the shed is I can get it to do the timers for me. So Alexa, 1 hour timer.
1 hour, starting now.
So that's the mash on, and it will also give me a little timer readout on the touchscreen as well, which is useful. Right, so I've got the rest of the equipment hooked up now, including the pump, and for the last sort of 5 minutes of the mash I like to do a bit of recirculating just to clear the water up a bit, and this part is actually quite helpful, having the voice control, because when you're trying to operate the valves and you know, direct the hoses or reconnect the hoses to different places. It's quite useful to have your hands free to do that, and in this case also so I can actually film it while I'm doing it. So Alexa, pump on. Oh, actually I've not opened all the valves, so this is a perfect example of that. So let's do that quickly, so we're not running the pump dry. Our wort's recirculating now. Okay, so the mash is finished. I now want to transfer the first runnings to the kettle. So Alexa, pump off. So we're just going to swap that hose up to there. Alexa, pump on. And again, I've not opened the tap, so let's do that. And it's now filling up our kettle for us. So as soon as I've got some of the work going into the kettle, we can switch that on, or the induction plate on. So Alexa, kettle on. Okay, so first runnings are into the kettle, and that's running. The HLT is still on, heating up the sparge water, so we can switch that off. Alexa, HLT off. So again, I can do that while I'm fiddling about with the hoses and valves without having to touch it, and we can then just fill that with sparge water using gravity rather than the pump, if it actually gets flowing. I think it's airlocked at the moment. So let's sort that out. So that's the water for the batch sparge in now. Alexa, pump on. So we'll just do a little bit more recirculation to clear the sparge, and then that will go into the kettle as well. Alexa, pump off. Alexa, pump on. And we're now up to the boil, so looks like we need a bit of ventilation. Alexa, fan on.
Okay.
Ta-da! So you get the idea. Apologies if you were watching that with an Alexa of your own anywhere nearby. I've just been playing it back to do some editing, and the one in here has been going mental because it keeps hearing Alexa on the playback. Yeah, hopefully it didn't end up switching anything random on in your house or anything. So yeah, I know it is a bit gimmicky, as I said at the beginning, but actually that was pretty useful, to be honest, and certainly for some parts of the process it is really handy, because it, you know, essentially you basically have an extra pair of hands really, so I'm not having to reach across to switch things on and off, especially as the sockets are behind the pots and stuff. That means I'm not scalding my arms on the side of the hot kettle and things like that, which is good. I don't have to be going near sockets or the power supplies with wet hands if I've got either beer, or if I'm cleaning up at the end, if I've got, you know, cleaning products or whatever on me. So that's a good thing safety wise, I suppose. Even if you're not using the voice command, you can still avoid that by using the app or the touchscreen on the Alexa that I've got here. So that's kind of useful, and yeah, I think it does actually just very slightly speed up the process for me, because as I said in the video, I can be, you know, changing hoses over and things like that, or switching the valves and stuff on and off without having to also be doing the plugs and so on. So yeah, it worked well. I thought that was pretty good. I don't know, what do you think? Would that be useful for your setups? I mean, obviously I guess it does depend on what sort of system you're using. It's not going to be particularly useful where you've got a fairly automated system already, so the all-in-one setups, it's going to be limited use for that. Obviously if you've still got a separate HLT, it might be useful for those things, but where the system is more manual based and separate vessels like I've got here, it does seem to have a bit of yeah, a bit of usefulness to me anyway. So I'll put some links down in the description for the sockets that I'm using, and in case you wanted to have a look at those on Amazon. They seem to be working really well, not having any problems with them in terms of being able to take the current from things like the kettle and the elements, so that's good. And yeah, it's a bit of fun anyway, wasn't it? So hope that was interesting for some of you, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.
I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or Duder or, you know, El Duderino.